Welcome back to TV5 News at 9, everyone. Time now for Aging in Style with Vitale Wealth Management. And we have president-owner Joe Vitale with us this morning. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Blake. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good.
All right, before we begin, don't forget to get Joe's newsletter, Financial Vitals, for the latest in market trends financial news. You can get it by scanning this QR code that you see on your screen right now, and you can scan it throughout this entire segment. Today's topic, though, required minimum distributions, which I just learned are RMDs,
right,
and long-term care. Okay, so Joe, required minimum distributions, if I could get that out,
right?
What are they?
Those are, everybody puts into their 401k or IRA, the tax-deferred savings program, and the government says, now you have to take it out because we want our tax money. So it grows tax-deferred, and then when you take it out, the government says at age either 73 or 75, depending when you were born, you have to start taking distributions. It used to be 70 and a half, then 72, and then the CARES Act made it 73 or 75. So that's when they have to start taking a minimum amount of money out every year. Technically, it starts right around 4%. So let's say you got $500,000, you have to take out $20,000 a year and pay tax on it.
Okay.
They want their tax revenue.
Very good. Simple way to put it, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the difference between traditional policies and these RMDs?
Well, there's a couple different things. Like you have traditional, when you're talking about, I think we're going into the long-term care strategies. Yeah. You have the traditional long-term care, then you have the kind that can be tax strategies. So some of them are tax deferred where you can actually fund them with pre-tax dollars. Required minimum distributions can be used, but a lot of times, some of them are qualified, some of them are non-qualified. So there's a little difference how they're worded, yeah.
Okay. Can required minimum distribution funds be used for like long-term care?
That's a great, absolutely. That's a great way to do it. Because a lot of times people, I was just talking with another client the other day, they have to take required minimum distributions. They have to take $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year. They're like, well, I don't need all this money. What am I going to do with it? You know, well, you're going to pay tax on it, number one, because they want their tax revenue. Right. But technically, you're going to reinvest it. They're going to put it into something short-term. But why not use it to fund long-term care? The problem with long-term care is as you get older, it goes up in costs. Right. But there's different ways to fund long-term care with required minimum distribution money, and you can get tax savings depending. But also, when you fund it, it's like, why not put it into something that you can use if you need it for long-term care, but if not, you get your money back tax-free. So there's a great way to kind of maximize your required minimum distributions so that you can do there's other ways that hybrid, so there's different strategies you can use with it.
Could you go over maybe a few more?
Yes, thank you for asking. That's wonderful. So so the different ways you can do it is one way is and people, the age-old adage is, right, you need to get term insurance. If you need life insurance, you want to buy term. Okay. Because especially when you're young, you want it for the younger ages. But when you get older, people say, well, I don't need life insurance anymore. I don't have any kids at home. I don't have any bill. I don't have any debt. And that's true. But life insurance at this stage of the game, when you're in your 60s, 70s, can be used for the living benefits. Because people say, well, Joe, who cares if I die? What do I need this for? You need the living benefits, and the living benefits are long-term care strategies. So let's say you put your required minimum distribution every year into a life insurance hybrid vehicle. If you pass away, yes, your spouse, your kids get a beautiful tax-free death benefit. However, if you need that for home care, assisted living, or nursing, you can pull up to 90% of that death benefit out to pay for that on a tax-free basis. What a great way to use this. Also, you're using this money, you're paying tax on it, why not turn it into a tax-free legacy? Some people have the legacy mind where they say, yeah, you know what, I want my kids or my grandkids to have this. Yeah. But you got to be careful where you could be leaving them a big tax burden. And say, well, I don't care, I'm dead. Well, how much do you care about leaving all that money to the government? Do you really want to leave that money to the government? Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Okay. I mean, it's different when you start putting that into perspective, because why would you want to leave it to the government? Would you rather your kids have it on a tax-free basis? Yeah. So that's what we talk about. Okay, so I hope this answers the next question too. Like if someone had distributions they didn't use and want to leave an IRA to their kids or grandkids, what is that? That's the best way to do it, yeah. Because now you got to remember though too, if you leave an IRA, they have to take it out over 10 years. Okay, they can take it in a lump sum and pay tax on the whole thing in 1 year. Right. But they used to be able to stretch it for 20, 30, 40 years. You can't do that anymore. And it's like, well, why is that bad? 10 years, you got $1 million IRA 401k and it goes to your kids over 10 years and they're in their 40s or 50s, their highest wage earning years, make sure you're going to see 30% of it's going to go for taxes, 20 to 30%.
Wow.
Now, if you're smart about it and you do some pre-planning like we do, we're going to start doing some Roth strategies. We're going to look at some life insurance strategies and turning that into a tax-free death benefit and maximizing the return on it.
Can you take these distributions and convert it to Roth IRA?
I used to think you could.
Okay.
You can't.
Oh, wow.
You can't. So you have to first satisfy your required minimum distribution. So let's say you have a $20,000 required minimum distribution.
Yeah.
You have to pay tax on that, and it cannot go into a Roth. Now, let's say you take another $50,000 over and above. That can go into a Roth. You first satisfy your required minimum distribution, then everything over and above can go into a Roth, which is why a lot of people, a very popular thing is to put it into a life insurance.
Yeah.
Because now you can't do a Roth, but it is a tax-free vehicle. So you can do a tax-free vehicle in that respect.
All right, so there's some options.
There's options,
sounds like.
Yep.
All right, so can you tell us how people could create that tax-free legacy for their kids or grandkids, or maybe even they want to give to charity?
Well, one way too is required minimum distributions. If you don't need the money or you are charitably inclined, you give to your church, you give to charities. Qualified charitable distributions can go directly to church or charity without you paying tax on it, and you satisfy your required minimum distributions.
Okay.
So definitely something you want to do. Also, why not do a life insurance? You don't need the money. If you can qualify for it, you have to qualify for it. Why not do a tax? You qualify for life insurance, put that money in there. Why pay tax on it by putting it into a CD or pay more tax on it when you can take that, put it into a life insurance, turn that into for charity, for the kids, for a legacy. I mean, really do something smart with it that could really be helpful.
It's a great conversation, Joe. Anything else you want to add?
Give us a call. We'll help you. Yeah, because there's so many different things about it. But yeah, we know how to help with that.
We covered a lot right now.
Yes, thanks, Blake. It was good.
All right, glad you're here. Don't forget to get market updates and more through Joe's newsletter, Financial Vitals. And of course, if you want more information on today's topic, head on over to the Aging in Style page on our website, WNEM.com.